Before I'd even finished unloading my last box into the new place there, she was standing right in the middle of my driveway, like she'd been lying in wait all morning, stack of bleach blonde curls, sunglasses so big you could see your own reflection, and that death grip on her clipboard. Honest to God, it felt like a casting call for angry suburban reality TV. "You can't leave that trailer here," she snapped, waving a manicured finger at my U-Haul like it personally offended her. "This is a deed-restricted community. HOA rules say I cut her off mostly out of self-preservation." "Ma'am, I've been here less than an hour. Can I move in before you start quoting bylaws at me?" She sucked in air like I just slapped her eyes, all wild and wounded. "It's Mrs. Karen Whitbridge, president of the Oakcrest Homeowners Association. And I expect compliance, not sarcasm." I gave her my best fake smile. "Cool. I'm River Hastings, and I expect folks to knock before walking onto my property." Her lips went tight pinned, started scratching across that clipboard like she was about to summon a storm, and then she stomped off, muttering, "Just wait till the next meeting." Welcome to Oakcrest, I thought. Not my first HOA rodeo, but I'd never run into one with fangs like this. First month, it was a parade of petty warning for trash cans visible 30 minutes after pickup citation for a mailbox shade that wasn't regulation beige, and my favorite, an actual violation notice for a wind chime on the porch. I wish I was kidding. Every single one signed by Karen herself. I'd dealt with power-hungry HOA presidents before, but she had a particular glint in her eye, like enforcing obscure rules was her main hobby. What Karen didn't know was I wasn't just some random guy who'd wandered into her little kingdom. I'd done my research before moving in. See, I own a small real estate company. I don't just buy homes, I buy land. And 3 years back, my company picked up a foreclosed property right at the edge of Oakcrest with a solid clubhouse on it. Renovated, made it nice. Started leasing it out. Guess who rents it? That's right, the Oakcrest HOA, their official clubhouse. Their little power fortress is my property, lease signed by the last president when they were desperate. I kept quiet about that part. So when I got my 5th violation notice this time about non-compliant patio furniture, I decided it was time for a little fun. Waited until their monthly HOA meeting, which of course was in my clubhouse. I showed up, early dress shirt folder in hand, all business. Karen was inside, already moving chairs like she was prepping for a coronation. "This meeting is for board members and homeowners only," she said, eyes narrowed. "Good thing I'm both," I answered. She tried to snark back, but I just smiled, walked right to the front, and laid a copy of their lease agreement on the table. "This is your rental agreement signed 3 years ago, monthly payments on time. Thank you very much. And as your landlord, I've got a few rights myself." You could have heard a pin drop. Karen's face went from power pink to ghost white. I didn't let up. I can inspect this place whenever I want, use it for my own events, even terminate the lease with 30 days notice. Unless maybe the board starts focusing on actual community issues instead of my mailbox color. She looked at the rest of the board for backup, but most just stared at the lease like it might bite. I let that sink in, then sat down, didn't need to say more. Seed planted. A few days went by. No more violation letters. Wind chime kept on swaying. Trash pickup came and went, no angry notes. For a second, I thought maybe they'd gotten the message. But Oakcrest wasn't about to go quietly. Came home one afternoon and my mailbox was leaning not broken, just off. Like someone had loosened it on purpose, a couple of bolts gone, nothing major. 2 days later, a violation was taped to my door, unstable mailbox. Community safety violation, fine $150. I had to laugh, not because it was funny, but because it was desperate. Someone had come out in the middle of the night and sabotaged it just to nail me with a fine. I took that letter inside and filed it, not going to pay, obviously, but I knew what to do next. That weekend, I installed a couple of small security cameras. One pointed at the driveway, the other straight at the mailbox. I didn't mention it to anyone. A week rolled by. Nothing. Then at 3:12 a.m. on a Thursday, my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Pulled up the feed, sure enough, someone in a hoodie, flashlight and wrench in hand, crouched by my mailbox. Then she stood to adjust her hood, and there it was, Karen. I watched her unscrew the top of my mailbox, drop it in a bag, and stroll off like she was taking out the trash. Next morning, new notice on the door, mailbox missing. Emergency safety violation. HOA will replace at owner's expense $300. Didn't even bother pulling it down. I snapped a photo and added it to my evidence folder. Filed a police report that afternoon. Tampering with mailboxes is a federal crime, and I had the footage to prove it. Officer at the desk watched the video and just shook his head. She's the HOA president, yep. Bold move. We'll open a case, and you might want to call the postal inspector. This could get federal. I thanked him and left, thinking maybe now things would finally break open. That night was the quarterly open forum, half the neighborhood crammed into my clubhouse, most folks just trying to keep their heads down. Karen waltzed in late, all sunglasses and attitude, and started her speech about new mailbox compliance initiatives. She suggested raising the fine to $500. That's when I walked up front, held up a small projector, and said, "Before we vote, I'd like to show everyone something." Played the video, timestamp was clear, the face unmistakable. People gasped. Someone whispered, "Is that Karen?" I looked at the board. Already with the police and postal inspector, tampering with mailboxes is a felony. Karen looked ready to bolt, but no one moved. Board member just said, "Meeting adjourned." Karen tried to protest, but everyone ignored her. I packed up and walked past. "You think this makes you untouchable?" she hissed. "No," I told her. "It makes me prepared." Next morning, a sheriff's car sat outside her house for over an hour. She didn't come back. By that weekend, the whole neighborhood knew. A recall petition started making the rounds. Turns out Karen had racked up a lot of enemies. Folks I barely knew were leaving thank you notes and six-packs on my porch. You cracked it open, man. Truth is, I just hate bullies. Always have. But I wasn't done yet. See, with Karen gone, people started comparing old HOA letters. I met Glenn, a machinist who'd been here since the 80s. Brought out a stack of fines, each one more bogus than the last, all signed by board members, especially Carolyn Ree, who was still on the board. Looking closer, I saw a pattern, dozens of fines, hardly any real inspections or evidence. Even weirder, some checks made out to board members personally, not the HOA account. Over 6 years, I tallied more than $20,000 of what looked a whole lot like embezzlement. Called up Asia, an old friend. Now, an assistant DA met at a diner, handed over the files. "If half this sticks, it'll get ugly," she said. A week later, subpoenas hit 6 board members. Carolyn was arrested at her job. Patrick lawyered up, the rest of the board collapsed. For the first time in years, Oakcrest HOA was paralyzed. No board, no fines, no threats. That's when I called a community meeting, not a board meeting, but a real open forum. Packed house. "I'm not here to run your HOA," I told them, "but I am going to make sure it doesn't go back to what it was." We formed a committee, no ties to the old board, just neighbors, a teacher, a firefighter, a single mom. They proposed a full election, clean slate. No appointments, just ballots. Place erupted. I'd never seen so many relieved faces. But of course it wasn't over. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from Patrick's lawyer accusing me of orchestrating a campaign to undermine the Oakcrest HOA. I filed it under desperate threats, sent it to Asia. She laughed. "He's the one who should worry. We have the records." Not long after, the county set a trial date, right before the new board election. Meanwhile, digging through the finances, I found something uglier, a fake vendor called Community Services Consultant Group. Supposedly billed for repairs, but the company didn't exist. Asia checked it out. Shell Corporation money funneled to Patrick's account, authorized by Carolyn. Over $60,000, and 4 families had been threatened with fake liens, even forced out of their homes. It wasn't just fraud, it was racketeering and extortion. Asia filed new charges: mail fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy. News broke. Local TV ran stories of families displaced, HOA leaders arrested, Karen in cuffs, Patrick caught at the airport. The rest followed. At the next forum, the new committee took over. No clipboards, no threats. No more fines without evidence, said Marcus, the firefighter, now chair. No more closed doors. The room erupted. I slipped out early. It wasn't about me anymore. Final step, I donated the clubhouse to the community trust. Handed the deed to Marcus. You sure, he asked. Bought it to keep it out of the wrong hands. Now it's in the right ones. Walking home, I saw neighbors painting doors, planting flowers, kids riding bikes over sidewalks once labeled non-compliant. The wind chime on my porch played a new tune. My phone buzzed. Asia, all 6 indicted. Restitution fund started. Justice is moving. But you tell me, was it justice or just the beginning? When power builds itself on fear, all it really takes is one person willing to push back and a community finally ready to stand up. So what would you have done? Would you have fought or kept your head down? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about what real justice means in a neighborhood like this.